Dahua Kingdom, Tiandu Prefecture. Heavenly Barrier. Today is the day of Luo Tianfeng's death, caused by collusion with demons. He was thrown off a cliff. A woman showed up saying the newborn baby was a boy. The crying baby was placed with his mother. The woman was glad to see her child. She turned to the maid, whom she called Chun Er. The woman handed her child to her. She asked for the maid to promise that she would take care of Luo Yi. Chun Er promised this to her mistress. Now the woman will be together with her brother Feng. Those were her last words. An unknown voice asked what to do with young Master Yi. For now, the second lady had also passed away. The Luo family had always valued martial prowess. If he actually had ability, he should be able to fight for his status. The man kicked the girl out with her newborn baby, saying she no longer deserved to stay here. The girl tried to soothe the crying young master. From now on, they would depend on each other. She worked the whole time with an infant in her arms. The seasons changed one after another, and the young gentleman grew. 16 years later, the guy was trying to cultivate somehow. But in response, blood spurted from his mouth. He was born with a weak physique. Because of the blocked meridians, he didn't have a single bit of cultivation talent at all. So why did God do this to him? Someone was yelling at him about how he was still sitting here doing nothing. Does the guy still think he's the young master of his family? There were people practicing all around. The boy went outside. The man in green robes assumed that this brat had come to take another technique. The reason why this brat is still able to stand until now is because he is the patriarch's grandson. If it wasn't for that, he would have been kicked out of the Luo family long ago with his terrible talent. This brat has been practicing the title technique for over 10 years and hasn't even broken through the first stage. He really is a waste of time, because even an ordinary martial artist could break through in just 3 days with title technique cultivation. Chief Instructor Luo-san has arrived. He towered over the guy with his enormous physique. Luo-san is the head exercise instructor at the Luo family's outer hall. Luo Yi looked at the instructor uncertainly. Luo-san punched the guy for some reason. His son was once a gifted genius, but is now a complete cripple. Luo Yi has no right to be healthy, being essentially half-crippled. Even the others realized that the head instructor was being unreasonable. What was Luo Yi's fault if it was his son who was crippled by the consequences of his own training? No matter how much of a brat he is, Luo Yi is still the patriarch's grandson. Luo-san takes advantage of the patriarch being in seclusion to hurt him badly. Luo-san was now an expert who was at the 8th step of the Hutian realm. He definitely has nothing to fear. Luo Yi's father was punished by family law for colluding with a demon. No one would try to punish an expert for worthless trash. It was a restless night with lightning outside. Standing over Luo Yi's bed was Chun Er. She asked the young gentleman to wake up. If anything happened to him, she would no longer be able to look his dead parents in the eye. And yet a miracle happened. Something green hit his body. The guy clearly wasn't used to having something put into his body. His screams only made the woman more anxious. A couple days later, the guy finally woke up, but he had absolutely no idea where he was. To be more precise, it wasn't him. It was whoever had possessed the guy. His last memory was that he was working overtime. He really did die of overwork. Suddenly, many memories rushed into his head. A woman's cup with some kind of liquid fell over. The young master woke up and he was fine. But tears came to her eyes. She thanked the heavens that he was awake. I wonder if the guy's been reborn. This guy Luo Yi, whose body he had taken over, had lived an even more useless life than himself. After being bullied for 16 years, he was beaten to death by a mere instructor. The woman asked if the gentleman felt any discomfort in his body. The boy realized that he seemed to have the same fate as this gentleman. They both lost their parents, but he has Aunt Chun to take care of him. He reassured his aunt, saying he was fine now. Chun replied that he still needed to rest, as his injuries had not fully healed yet. How could Luo-san do such a cruel thing to her young master? If the second master was still here, this insignificant instructor wouldn't be able to do anything to Luo Yi, even if Luo-san had called 100 people with him. If a person's worth is determined by their martial prowess in this world, then they will have to become the strongest to live on in this secluded life. Once he became strong enough, he would avenge the original owner of this body. Even though this here blow had lost the previous master, but the rib cage that should be broken quickly recovered. This body seems to have undergone a certain change. This cultivation world where there is no limit to a person's strength when a person reaches the 10th stage of the Hutian realm. He can interact with heaven and earth, which leads him to the innate realm. However, it would be extremely difficult to break through to the innate realm. He needs to practice first. Martial techniques in this world can be categorized into 5 different attributes: metal, wood, water, fire, and earth. The previous owner cultivated the tide technique, which is one of the best techniques of the water attribute. It was because of his blocked meridians that the flow of the tide technique was causing immense pain. Well, something happened and now there was water all around him. He broke through to the first stage of the tide technique. The body has changed since his rebirth. With that kind of talent, he can definitely get a lot stronger. This was the estate of the Luo family, who had lived here for over 1,000 years in the Dahua kingdom. Luo Yi, grandson of the patriarch and son of Luo Tianfeng, was exiled to live in the servant settlement. All the while, he was learning the tide technique. He started from the bottom and was able to reach the 5th stage of the tide technique in just 3 months. This was a staggering speed. The title of Trash Young Master would soon disappear. The servants on the street were saying that this young Master Yi is tough. It's already been 3 months, and he's still pretending to be sick because of the beating from Luo San. He has only reached the 5th stage, but he still can't defeat Luo San, who is at the 8th stage. And the man who allowed Luo San to do this is even more out of line. The reason he had such a horrible life was because of his father, who was punished for the rules of the family. Luo Tianfeng was the strongest of his generation, but due to collusion with demons, he was thrown into the abyss and his body was never found. To get out of this situation, he's going to have to rely solely on himself. Only disciples who had reached the 5th step could take the highest tide techniques. He wondered how to obtain them without revealing his power. All his ideas will lead to nothing good. Luo Yi has been practicing hard for 3 months. Maybe he'll find some way. A pavilion for washing clothes. The servants of the outer hall of the Luo family. The man was telling the girl to just do as she was told. But her work is done for the day. Her work will be done when he says so. He pointed to Lady Honger. She is the 6th madam's daughter and wears her clothes. If she washes it, her work will be finished. But her young master is sick, so she must come and prepare medicine for him. She asked Manager Liang to have mercy on this wretched servant. So she's saying that her invalid is more important than her, the daughter of the 6th madam. Chun'er told her to stop saying nasty things towards young Master Yi. Honger asked if she really wanted to die that badly. And the woman already wanted to hit her aunt. Luo Yi arrived with words about how she dared to touch Aunt Chun. She wants to die. The guy stood up for her. He threw a punch at Honger. The 6th madam's daughter fell to the ground. Aunt Chun really couldn't believe that it was young Master Yi. Honger kept saying that this guy didn't know what he was doing. If he kills her, he definitely won't get away with it. The 6th madam won't just let it go. But did she really think that was the reason he would stop? He did kill that woman. The manager asked that this servant be pardoned. If Luo Yi hears any gossip about what happened, he will suffer the same fate as this woman. Chun'er still didn't understand what had happened to the young master. From this day on, no one will dare to bully Auntie anymore. Honger was at the 4th stage of the flaming palm technique, but she couldn't hurt the young master either. The young master was no longer the trash that everyone knew him to be. The wind was now blowing in a different direction. The aunt asked God to bless them and give them his protection. Luo Yi remarked that she shouldn't cry so often. It was bad for her already poor health. He suggested that she should go home soon. The young master shouldn't have done that. She's already old, and she doesn't care what happens to her. He won't be able to tell anyone about the power he used today. But he told his aunt not to worry because the guy would take care of everything. Luo Liang, who witnessed his strength today, is not an idiot, and will make the right choice. Moreover, Dahua Kingdom is very strict when it comes to the higher-ups. Even a useless prince can't object to a servant. A month later, he continued to cultivate the tide technique. Finally, Luo Yi was at the peak of the 5th stage. Now, to reach the 6th level, he only needs a technique of the same level. Then he could easily make a breakthrough. But unfortunately, he doesn't have that technique, so he has to figure something out. He was greeted by Luo Liang. Luo Yi invited the manager to have a chat inside. Luo Yi asked, wondering why Manager Liang had come here today. Luo Lian had already thrown Honger down the mountain. But the guy still asked what the true reason for him being here was. The servant came here to beg the young master's forgiveness. It was his fault for treating the young master and aunt like this. From now on, if the master had orders, he would follow them with all his might. As long as the patriarch is in seclusion, the current provisional party is one that has never been on good terms with Luo Tianfeng, Luo Tianba. The young master is going to hide his strength until the patriarch comes out of seclusion. Within 6 months, he will need someone's help. This is a great opportunity to move up the ranks. He needs to take full advantage of it. Even though the manager deserves to die, he will be useful. Luo Yi will only give him one chance. If the master needed anything, he should definitely call the manager. Luo Liang will try his best to fulfill his assignment. Luo Yi just need the scriptures for the 6th and 7th stage of the tide technique. The guy wondered if he could get them. The young master can go and get them himself, but because he wants to hide his power, he can't do so. But this is also a great opportunity for him to test Luo Liang. He would be able to find the scriptures of the 6th and 7th stage in 3 days. As long as the manager is loyal to the guy, he won't go unrewarded. He thanked the young master. Luo Liang cultivates the metal attribute centralizing gold technique. Then what are his title techniques for? In fact, his nephew is cultivating the tide technique. Recently he broke through to the 5th stage, but he has no scriptures, and as a result, his cultivation has stopped. Therefore, Luo Liang came to look for techniques here. But he must also know that the techniques of the inner hall must not get into the outer hall. If they are transferred to the outer hall, there will be brave men who will rewrite them and sell them. And such will be publicly executed. But Brother Hong doesn't need to worry. His nephew doesn't live in Tiandu. As soon as he learns the technique, he'll leave here right away. If something happens, he'll take full responsibility and won't pull his brother down. He asked to do a favor. This is a condensing pill of qi. It allows you to improvise your qi, and it will last for 6 months. Let brother take it as Luo Liang's sincerity. Hong told him to wait here. He'll be right back. An hour later, he finally did what his brother had asked. He must not lose or ruin these techniques. Luo Liang would never forget the favor done by Brother Hong. If he needs help in the future, he will definitely come. At least he didn't let down the young master's confidence. He completed the task before the deadline, for which he should get a couple of points. Luo Liang was glad that he had not disappointed the young lord. Luo Yi praised him. The young lord will forever be Luo Liang's sole master in this life. Any order stripped of his order, he will execute without question. Luo Yi appreciates his loyalty. From now on, he may not kneel while he sits here. Luo Yi heard from Chun that Luo Liang had suspended her from household work. She is the young master's aunt. It would be inappropriate for her to work there. His options are limited. But this is the only thing he could do. It would be best if he didn't go too far with it, as it might attract the attention of others. If he needs anything else, he'll find a manager himself. That servant was careless to leave now. The young lord thinks carefully about things that concern Lady B. He needs to reconsider the things that have been done, so that the lord's plans don't go awry. 3 months later, it was winter. The 6th and 7th stages were really difficult. It took him 3 months to reach the middle of the 7th stage. There is only a month left before the start of this year's talent tournament. He would need to prove his skills and enter the Palace of Martial Skill Winners. By then, no one should be able to stop him. Luo Yi is confident that he is safe after reaching the 7th stage. When he passes the realm of Chutian and reaches the innate realm, it will be time for revenge. Past Luo Yi must watch and enjoy his cruel revenge on those who bullied the past bodymaster. Aunt Chun came in to see him. Luo Yi asked if there was any business. The woman asked if he had forgotten what day it was. It was the day his mother died. Today is the day Ms. and the second master died. She offered to visit them and offer prayers. They did. Technically, he was their son and should pay homage to them. The guy really didn't mind bowing down to them a couple times. Bi Chun asks the second master and the lady how they feel upstairs. She wants to go to them to continue to serve them, but the young master is still so young, so she has to go with him. The young master had grown so much. She felt sorry that she couldn't take good care of him. Bi Chun had failed the young master's father and mother. The boy watched silently with umbrella in hand as his aunt cried. New Year's Eve, the annual Luo family festival. The beginning of the new year is the most festive time. The Luo family has become the strongest in all of Tiangdu for a reason. The young lords of the family branch look dignified. The decorations and music match this family. It's certainly lively today. Luo Hao's second son rushed over and shouted for everyone to get out of his way. They were the ones who bullied the past young Mr. E. He decided to instill some interest in them. The ice got to the carrying guy. It almost caused him to fall over. But Luo Yi only spoke of a slight interest. It would come out unpleasant if he died here. Luo Tianbas should just wait until it was time for full payment. While everyone was watching the guy fall down, Luo Yi was just walking in the opposite direction. An obelisk of the ancestors of the Luo family. The head of the family and the elders arrived.
This is the patriarch of the family and his grandfather. His valor is beyond comprehension. He silenced everyone with his aura alone. You can't do that without great power.
Luo Tianba encouraged people to drink and celebrate, even after his brother died. They were always fighting for power. If Luo Yi's power was revealed, Tianba would be the first to feel anxious. The Luo family is fighting for power with each other. But he is not interested in that. When he reaches the innate realm, he will spare himself the drama of the Luo family. Since their ancestor Luo Qingfeng came to Tiangdu, 29 generations had passed. Today, Lo Hong, as the head of the 29th generation of the Lo family, pays tribute to the ancestors on the last day of the old year. May the glory of the family continue to be passed on for generations to come. He ordered the sacrifice to be carried. It is an adult species of liger beast that was a demonic beast. The sharp claws of this beast can cut golden japonica like tofu. The best thing about this festival is the liger. A first-class demonic beast was used as a sacrifice. Luo Hong ordered the cage to be opened. He engaged his technique to grab the beast. Luo Yi didn't know what kind of grip it was. It seems so surreal. Perhaps it's a power beyond the innate realm. The demonic beast didn't even have time to attack before it was immediately grabbed in midair. Luo Tianba slashed the demonic beast. He is at the peak of the Hutian realm and only a step away from the innate realm. There are so many experts in this world. He used his power to climb to the top of the obelisk and brought the head of the demonic beast with him. Luo Hong ordered everyone to kneel down and bow to the ancestors. All unanimously followed his order. This is the power that Luo Yi must train harder for. One day he will surpass Luo Hong and become the top of this world. He announced the start of the annual tournament. Those who had reached the 5th level or higher could go to the inner battle hall. This family treasure is a memory stone. They will use it to measure the strength level of the participants. With one palm strike, it can determine the strength level based on the depth of a palm branch. The first was Lo Fang. He used a decisive golden palm. With his technique, he struck the stone, 5 inches deep. Resolute golden palm is on the 5th level of the early stage. Lo Fang came down from the stage. Luo Yi watched this spectacle. Someone touched his shoulder. Luo Hao was clearly happy to see his 23rd brother, especially since he hadn't seen him for a year. He's grown a lot, so the Luo family improved the servant's fodder. He was stopped by a girl. Luo Binyun is the cousin of Luo Yi. She is the daughter of Luo Tianshuang's second uncle and one of the few family members who treat Luo Yi well. They haven't seen the 23rd brother since last year, so he still likes to hide under women's skirts. Luo Yi replied to the 17th brother that the roads are slippery these days. He had better be careful when going anywhere. The others wondered what was wrong with the little brat today. How could he even talk to his 17th brother like that? He had been beaten to a pulp not too long ago with a single punch from Luo San. It looks like he was beaten to a pulp. Luo Hao was clearly dissatisfied with what the guy told him. He just heard that yesterday's 17 brother took a sudden fall in the middle of the street. He's just a little worried, that's all. Luo Hao noticed that his mouth was too big. It seems that no one taught him how to respect his older brothers. Therefore, the 17th brother must teach him some manners today. Luo Binyun told the guy to stop provoking him, because he wouldn't be able to handle him. Today is the annual tournament, and he dares to stir up trouble. I guess he's not afraid of being punished by the elders. Since there is a tournament starting from today, he will let Luo Yi go, but after this day, he better watch out. Luo Yi thanked Binyun. She called him a silly boy and said that if his sister wouldn't protect him, who else could? Luo Hao is vicious by nature, and she is afraid that he will try to retaliate against Luo Yi in the future. This time, Luo Yi was too impulsive, but she needn't worry, because there are family rules. Even he wouldn't dare to break them. The girl didn't understand why he had suddenly become so confident. The pedigree evaluation is complete, but Luo Yi was still unappreciated. It was the famous young master loser of the Luo family. This boy is definitely God's punishment since his father was with demons. He is 23 and still wants to be appreciated. He definitely wants to embarrass himself even more. Luo Tianba wanted to forbid him from taking the test, but Luo Hong ordered Luo Yi to pass it. The last of the clan's main bloodline, Luo Yi, would be appraised. Luo Binyun stopped him and asked if he was definitely sure of his decision. He told her to just wait and see what happens now, after he was evaluated now. That stupid kid is hiding some secrets from his sister. It was time for Luo Yi to be able to prove himself. He hit the appraisal stone. It was 5.3 inches deep. He was using tidal arts. The guy was on the 5th level of the midway stage. Others wondered if this was definitely the same-born loser with blocked meridians. At the age of 16, he had reached the middle of the 5th level. That means he had already reached level 5 at least last year. He's no less than a genius. The old man praised the young master Yi. Past Luo Yi should have seen this, that all the glory belongs to him alone. He's finally rid of the trashy young gentleman, and now what he's most concerned about is his uncle. But that wasn't all the cards up his sleeve. Luo Tianba didn't understand how he managed to become so powerful. At this time, the evaluation of the main pedigree is complete. Now they were starting to evaluate the children of the branch family. The boy was coming down, and his sister was already waiting for him. She asked when he reached the 5th level and why he didn't tell Luo Binyun anything. He seems to need to find a plausible excuse. Her younger Yi did very well. Luo Yi replied that it was a long story. It was when he was beaten up by Luo San 6 months ago. When the guy was on the verge of life and death, an old man showed up. It was the old man who made him sit down some strange pill, and after that his injuries recovered completely. But he also stopped having trouble improving. Luo Binyun clearly didn't understand what kind of pill it was that allowed him to rise from nothing to the 5th level in 6 months. He has incredible support, so no one can do anything to him yet. Luo Yi just needs to wait a little longer, and after that, something very good is in store for all those who look up to him. At the end of this year, in addition to the 4 members from the main family and 12 people from the branch families, those who have reached level 5 can enter the Inner Battle Palace. There will be a place to determine who hasn't reached the 5th level, and they will have an elimination match. Suddenly, a young girl flew onto the stage. The actual battle is more exciting than what you might see on TV. This girl has dealt with the rest of the people. She single-handedly knocked them all out of the arena. In terms of skill, she is someone who is definitely a force to be reckoned with. This year's tournament is officially over. Those who have earned the right to enter the Inner Battle Hall should gather in the Elite Battle Hall of the Military Palace. A little later, he was standing in front of that very palace. Enemies are sure to cross paths often. There were rumors around the guy that the expert saved the guy's life with a miracle pill. Why didn't this expert save his son? After all, his talent is much better than Luo Yi's. The 3rd elder replied that all kinds of rabble were not allowed here and told him to leave. But Luo Yi also qualified, so he shouldn't be considered a rabble-rouser. But the 3rd elder didn't listen to him and just turned around. Luo Yi really didn't want to resort to force. He quickly dealt with the people who were obstructing his passage. How dare he even raise his hands against the Iron Guard? This punk is definitely looking to die. He told his boys to kill him. They wanted to attack Luo Yi, but the guy clearly didn't stand for it. It was clearly in the clan rules. Those who fiddled with iron shards on duty, regardless of identity or status, received the death penalty for it. He shouldn't think that just because he was a direct descendant of the main family, he could do whatever he wanted. But the ones breaking the rules were those guys, not him. During this tournament, he earned the qualification to enter the Inner Martial Palace by reaching the strength of the middle of the 5th stage, and the entire Luo family knows about it. However, they dare to go against the family rule to stop him. These guys sure have a lot of courage. The family gave authority to the Iron Guard warriors, but they still blindly follow Luo San's orders. They are simply abusing their power, for which they should be ashamed. Now Luo San himself appeared in front of him. Again, he wanted to intimidate and possibly beat Luo Yi with his golden core, the beginning of the 8th level. This old dog wants to try to fight, but a voice was heard from afar asking what they were doing. It was Luo Tianba. After watching the show for so long, he finally decides to be a good person. He's just testing the guy. Today, Luo Yi's life will be a little better. Tianba asked what was going on here. Luo Yi has been given permission to enter the elite fighting hall, but Luo San won't let him. He hopes that Uncle will take the appropriate action. The guy asked Uncle to give his opinion on this situation. Tianba asked if the guy was telling the truth. Luo San denied everything. He claimed that it was the guy who tried to pass through the front door without saying a word. Therefore, the guards stopped him, but he ended up severely injuring them. Luo San didn't think of disturbing him intentionally. Tianba asked if it was true. What a great pair of actors. They want to cancel his qualifications. They must be having fun watching him. But the first thing the boy did was to call the 3rd elder and tell him everything. Now, he dares to lie to his uncle in front of everyone. Does Luo San think that Tianba can see through his lies? Tianba thought, when did this kid become so smart and skillful with words? He knows how to slyly shift the blame now, and is using his name to silence Uncle. It seems this kid can no longer be underestimated. There seemed to be a misunderstanding. Tianba told Luo San to listen carefully to what people say next time. Luo San replied that he understood everything. Tongba told Luo Yi to follow him. When the participants enter the Inner Battle Palace, they will be able to choose a holy battle technique of the Holy Battle Hall. The Elite Battle Hall is the core of the Luo family. Within the family lie scriptures that have been preserved for 1,000 years. Just picking one scripture from there would be great. Under the Patriarch's orders, Luo Tianba brought disciples from the Inner Martial Palace here to throw away the scriptures. A man came out and asked, "What? Has it really been a year already?" He hoped that the patriarch was fine. Tianba thanked the elder for his concern. This elder looked as if he was looking at one particular place. Luo Yi noticed that the expression on his face was incredible. It was as if he could see right through the guy. The elder replied that the saplings didn't seem bad this time. These guys can go in, and Tianba has to tell them about the rules. This is the first floor of the Hall of Holy Warriors. It is divided into 6 main categories based on the nature of the technique. Guys can check its attribute based on its color. They only have access to the scriptures on this floor. None of it can be taken out. They can write it down. They have exactly 2 hours. And in the future, if they want to gain access here again to learn more martial techniques, they will need to prove their worthiness. The first martial technique they choose is extremely important. They can only look at the scriptures on the first floor. The second floor is off limits. The boy noticed a strong aura emitting from the end of the stairs. The elder is probably guarding him. Now that his tide technique had already reached the peak of the 7th level, he needed an 8th level scripture in order to advance. But there don't seem to be any level 8 technicians on this floor. Perhaps they are on the 2nd floor. If he tried to go up there with his current strength, he would probably die. He decided to put that aside and look for another technique to cultivate. He found the techniques of the cloud arrangement of palm trees, the body of flowing light, the scriptures of the azure sword, but what caught his attention was the technique of ethereal current rain. That name sounds interesting. If he could comprehend the etheric rain flow to the 3rd level, he could understand the true meaning of the water pole a little bit. The true meaning of the water pole is one of the most powerful in the world. It is strange, after all. Shouldn't it be placed on a higher floor? This is only the 1st level that is here. He decided to look at other techniques, as they would be much more useful in the beginning. 2 hours later, their time was up. In 2 months, the boys will enter the Cloudstream Island for training. Uncle hopes that they will all use this period to focus on the martial techniques they learned today, as well as fight for a part of the Luo family while on the Cloudstream Island. From Tianba's words, Luo Yi suggested that perhaps they were going to fight for something on the Cloudstream Island. Everyone welcomed the young master. Bi Chun and Luo Liang came out to greet him. This is the Scorching Sky Pavilion that was opened for the young master. Luo Binyun came to congratulate little Yi. Luo Yi invited her to enter. She had heard that this Scorching Sky Pavilion was usually given to the 2nd generation of a family. It was hardly ever given to those belonging to the 3rd generation. If Sister Binyun likes it, he wouldn't mind sharing the pavilion with her. But she can't accept such a generous gift. His recent accomplishments seem to have reassured those higher up in the family. The girl asked what technique he had chosen. The boy replied that he had taken the sword technique. Binyun expressed her desire to give him a sword so that he could improve faster. The guy only thanked her for that. The servants here are placed by those at the top. It is natural, therefore, that there are spies among them. The boy thanked her for the warning. A little while later, he decided to go outside. There are too many eyes in the residence, and the safest place is Luo Tianfeng's tomb. It's exactly the kind of place no one would just go to. But surprisingly, there was already someone sitting there. The old man said he came here too. It was the patriarch. Luo Hong said that Luo Yi must have hated him. He, as the guy's grandfather, couldn't fulfill his role. But he can't tell if he has hatred for his grandfather. Luo Yi doesn't even have any memories of him. Since he is the patriarch, it is natural that he has many things that the guy can't understand. Now he wants to say something. Despite everything, he is still a member of his family. The patriarch hopes the boy will remember that. It was an 8th to 10th level tide technique. Luo Hong doesn't know what method the guy used to hide his true strength. After all, even he couldn't reveal it for the first time. However, he needs to improve this method so that it will be more effective. He needs to always be on guard. As expected of the patriarch of a millennial family, his knowledge and observation are extraordinary. This technique fell into his hands just at the right time. Now his tide technique could finally reach level 8. The 8th level is much more difficult than the 7th level, but he had memorized it by heart ever since. Although Luo Hong is the patriarch, he chose such a barren place to give his grandson the scripture. The rules are very strict indeed. He thinks it's best to destroy the evidence as soon as possible. The patriarch has done him this favor. He doesn't want to bother him further. It's been 2 months. After reaching the end of the 1st level of the Azure Ball technique, the light of the 7 swords is capable of spreading into hundreds of sharp light beams. He had already cultivated it to the 7th level, but that didn't improve anything at all. Suddenly it started raining. Suddenly he realized about the etheric current rain. He's getting it right now. Luo Yi used a stream of sword qi. It was an incredibly powerful blow. It made the other people shudder at the power they felt. The rain must have come just in time. Perseverance leads to success. This is the true technique of the Azure Sword. Its power is extremely strong. He is sure to reach the truth of water that no one has ever been able to reach. The Azure Sword technique was terrifying. Just by using it, it immediately exhausted all of his stamina. Luo Yi definitely needs to be prepared when using her. At the explosion, other people came running in wondering what had happened. Luo Yi didn't think he would make such a huge fuss. This isn't the time to expose yourself yet. All the crumbled stones turned into crystal ice. It seemed to have been done by the water attribute technique. Only a level 7 expert could do this. There is no area on the island that has been affected. It couldn't have been done by a level 7 expert. Perhaps it could have been done by someone in the innate realm. This expert was on the level that the Patriarch Luo Hong himself. They should report to the family that there is an expert in the innate realm that was found in the back of the mountains. Meanwhile, the guy sat at his place and ate. A cousin came in and said she'd been looking for him all day. Luo Yi replied after him that he was practicing cultivation in the back of the mountain. The girl asked, so maybe it was in the back of the mountain that he was practicing. The guy replied that he didn't and asked what happened. There was an unknown expert who was in the innate realm and had entered the Luo family's mountain. The person that Sister Binyun was talking about was him, but when did he even manage to become an expert in the innate realm? This was something the guy didn't know for sure. Guy asked why she thought this expert was in the innate realm. As it turned out, the 13th Elder had learned that there was an innate aura that revolved around the surroundings. It was a flow. Complicated with flow, you can pull out the true meaning of congeniality. A feeling that can't be learned verbally, but only felt on its own. And it can help get a guy into the innate realm once he reaches the peak of the Hotian realm. Luo Yi asked how the family was going to handle it, but the family hasn't done anything about it yet. They just told them not to go there too often. Also, on March 5th, they will be going to Cloudstream Island, so they will need to work harder to improve their techniques. Luo Yi told his sister not to worry, because he will work hard for it. March 5th, a cross made from a sand plant. They arrived at the wharf on horseback. There were a lot of people here. In the Luo family, whoever is not at the 8th level and has not passed the age of 30 must undergo the Cloudstream Island training every year. And as time went by, the number of people grew larger and larger. Since the guy is a newcomer, he was assigned to her small group. His sister wanted to take him there. Luo Yu, or the 15th brother, was there. The 23rd brother is still a newcomer and is not familiar with the group. He decided to introduce the people here to him. Lo Xing asked to be referred to simply as Brother Xing, or Bald. Luo Xing is the vice captain of this group. Luo Yu hopes that 23 brother won't mind his character. Lo Yi replied that he is just straightforward. He also asked not to call him at 23rd brother, because it sounds like they are strangers. They can call him Little Yi. Lo Xing finds the guy quite interesting. Once they reach the Cloudstream Island, Luo Yi can ask him questions if he has any. Luo Yi suggested that they get along with each other. After all, they've been cooperating for as long as a year. He was finally here. This year, the third uncle will lead the squad. Next to him is his son, Luo Yan. 5 groups on the first ship. He told the 5 groups to get down and go aboard on their own. Since they are the third group, they will get aboard the first ship. They're finally going sailing. His sister approached him. The guy asked if Sister Binyun was okay or not. Luo Hao was also there. Luo Hao is a very cunning and petty person. He probably still can't get over what the guy did to him earlier this year. When Luo Yi was at home, Luo Hao didn't dare to take revenge on him. But now that they were going to Cloudstream Island, his revenge could still come to fruition. Cloudstream Island is an extremely dangerous place, so it's easy to maim or even kill someone there. Once he reaches the island, the guy should stick to his group. That way, Luo Hao wouldn't think of doing something to him. Luo Yi decided to listen to his sister's admonishment. Luo Yi wondered how big this ocean was. Within 500 kilometers of the city lies the territorial water, while beyond 500 kilometers away lies the outer territorial water, and the island's Cloudstream is at the outer territorial water boundary. And not many people know what the outer territorial waters look like. Legend has it that it is a place where demonic beasts will roam freely, because humans are forbidden to enter there. Recently, the outer territorial waters were chaotic when the Su family came out. They were met by a level 9 lizard beast. The girl hoped that this trip would go smoothly. This world is filled with martial artists and demonic beasts. Once he reaches the innate realm, he will definitely travel this universe. But still, something happened. A demonic beast invaded the ship. It was indeed a huge demonic beast that even resembled a dragon to some extent. This demonic beast began to destroy the ship, and there in front of him was his sister. The poor girl's leg was stuck. The demonic beast wanted to attack the ship again, but Luo Yi managed to help her in time. This lizard is indeed brave, but the Luo family are not ones to be messed around with so easily. Luo Tianxing's third uncle had arrived. Third uncle's fire technique had already reached the 9th degree. Luo Tianxing aimed to kill this beast. He struck out at the demonic beast. Luo Tianxing shouted to block this beast. The other disciples also began to strike the demonic beast, and so the third uncle finally finished him off. Everyone was screaming about the third uncle killing the sea creature. They're saved. It was as if the third uncle was being praised. There are so many experts in Luo's family that it makes the guy wonder how many are even in this world. He is bound to reach the top of this world in this life. They finally arrived at the Cloudstream Island. The fog here is enormous, and here they will have to live for a whole year. Luo's family camp is up ahead. If anyone gets seriously injured, they shouldn't come back here to heal. If not, they might just accidentally die. There were soldiers from the Dahua country here. The Luo family isn't the only ones who can train here. Luo Yi told Sister Binyun to rest. She asked Luo Yu to look after the younger Luo Yi while the girl recovered. After consuming the Tiger Dragon pill, each of them would be able to inspect and assess the situation of the individual groups. This pill allows a martial artist who is in the Huqian realm to reach the next stage 6 months after consuming it. Once he reaches the 9th stage and eats it, he can easily reach the 10th stage. For the first 3 months, they wouldn't take on any missions, instead training against level 5 and 6 demonic beasts. There is a demonic beast here that is above the 5th level. Although their level is low, their number is huge. If they piss them all off, it won't be a good situation. I think he's coming this way. It's an initial level 5 demonic beast, a bristling boar. Although he is not fast, his defense is not weak. It is his eyes that are his weak point. Luo Yi has no intention of backing down from the first battle with the demonic beast. He needs to hide his strength. So the guy thinks he can only use the strength of the middle 5th stage to deal with this boar. A wild boar spotted him and decided to attack. He ran at the protagonist. Luo Yi was able to dodge his attack, but this demonic beast is too quick to adapt to it. The animal was dangerously close to the guy, but Luo Yi froze his feet to strike him again. He used his technique. The tide technique didn't really affect him. His skull is very dense, so he decided to deal with him with a sword. Luo Yi came to see Luo Yu. He grabbed the guy's arm because they need to get out of here. The bristling boar roared right before it died, and this alarmed many other demonic beasts. Luo Yi needs to cut off their airways next time he encounters another demonic beast. Luo Yu wanted to demonstrate how to get the best result with the least amount of effort. He cautiously crept toward the demonic beast. The beast noticed him, but the guy still decided to attack. The demonic beasts managed to strike, but it had no effect on Luo Yu. He calmly killed the beast. It only took him 10 breaths to overpower him. With the current strength at stage 8, the guy has no chance of winning. Now Junior has to figure out how to properly fight the demonic beast. Demonic beasts rely solely on their instinct to kill. It will be an easy task for them to kill them if they can control and utilize the environment to advance. It takes time to learn how to do it professionally. Luo Yu recognized that he had talent. He should just get more fighting experience, and he would definitely succeed. The technique he demonstrated today is one of the many ways one can hunt. These few months they should try their best and learn from everyone here. Days passed during the hunt. 3 days later, Binyun's younger sister had recovered and could now officially return to the team. Thus, the third team would talk about the official mission. Luo Xing asked what mission they were going to take this time, and what stage of demonic beast they would be hunting. It would be the demonic beast at the peak of the 7th stage, the Night Panther. Once they catch it, they would immediately return here with its head. Now has tremendous speed, but they needn't worry. No matter how fast he is, he still only has the instincts of a beast. If they devise a plan, it will be easy to catch him. They decided to move out to hunt, but the team clearly didn't know they were being watched. Eventually they left. Tianba ordered him and Tian Chen to eliminate Luo Yi, but they must also not harm others. Tian Chen told the third brother not to worry and just wait for good news. Internal conflicts caused too much trouble. That rain was bothering the team leader, though. After searching for a few days, they finally reached the Night Panther's hideout. The leader had already thought of a plan, so he offered to discuss it. Against the Night Panther, one must use water techniques to confine it. Younger sister Yun, Jing Yi, and Luo Yi should take care of it, for they are cultivating the tide technique. After that, Ru'er and Juner will use the root technique to catch the beast. Xiaoyan will use the earth-bending technique on the place where the beast will stand to stun it. This would all be aimed at the beast that would try to escape. Luo Yu and Luo Xian would then get into position to deliver the final blow. This time, the Night Panther will definitely meet its demise. All of them from the Luo family must learn to plan things like the leader does. As expected, the guy still has a lot to learn to become the strongest in this world. He notices people following them for 8 days in a row. Luo Yi feels like these people are following him. He wondered whether it was Luo Tianxing or Luo Tianchen. If he could fully understand the current body's technique, then he might have a change. Even so, he should take this opportunity to try and feel it. If it succeeds, it can at least somewhat guarantee his survival. In this world, those who live because of the availability of water are those who also understand the flow of rain, and the steps that are formed by lightning are lightning steps. Lightning steps are quite fast, but using them consumes some of his main QI. With his current strength, unless he was in a dire situation, he would have to avoid using this skill. The next morning, Luo Yu showed signs that this place was the nest of the Night Panther. The leader will investigate it, and they should wait here. The others need to eliminate Luo Yi without anyone knowing about it. No matter how much they watched, they didn't notice any opportunities to carry out their plan. He told Dinger to wait here. If he was contained, they should not take any action. The boy agreed with what his father was telling him. Luo Yi is constantly with Luo Yu's group. He can't do anything about it as long as they are around him. The only way now is to protect them. A spiritual invigorating pill that is absorbed by the demonic beast with a mixture of secret formula. And from the spiritual beast sect, you can temporarily gain full control over the demonic beast's mind. He dripped his own blood on the pill. Luo Yi would be honored to die at his hands, for the man had to use this pill. A purple harpy flew out. It was the perfect opportunity for him. He used his technique. Tianchen had accessed the demonic beast's mind. It's a pity, though, that with the spiritual pill, the control over the demonic beast is only temporary, but it's already enough to kill Luo Yi. Getting to fly it for a day is quite equivalent to using a spiritual cleansing pill. Luo Tianchen and the demonic beast flew up. It had been quite some time in the cave, and their leader still hadn't come out. Something must have happened. But here Brother Yu came out. The Night Panther's nest is just full of branches and vines. Nothing else. This beast is still sleeping soundly inside, so now is the best time to execute their plan. Their group has a 90% chance of a successful hunt. He suggested continuing with the plan. Someone told Dean's brother that they were about to enter the cave and asked what to do now. Dean replied that they had to wait some more. This useless trash would soon regret knocking Luo Hao down that day. But suddenly, a flying demonic beast was approaching them. The guy said that they were not sure if they were the target of this beast, so he suggested not to anger this demonic beast. But it was the father, riding the demonic beast. His son wondered how he had made the beast obey him. The boy replied that they entered the cave after his father asked where they were. He said to prepare an ambush at the entrance to the cave. Once they come out, they will proceed with the plan. The plan is to separate Luo Yi from the others. Meanwhile, they were in the cave where the Night Panther was sleeping. Luo Yu threw a rock at her. The Black Panther was immediately awakened by the flying object. She immediately moved toward the flying stone. It was the right moment to fulfill the first point of their plan to capture the Black Panther. At the behest of their leader, they trapped the Black Panther in an ice cube. Immediately following that went the second part of the plan. But the panther didn't give up so easily. She broke free of the grip. But now it was time for Luo Yu. He rushed into battle with the Black Panther. But I heard something. It was the sound of a winged beast. It was because of this that the reaction and speed of the Black Panther would be higher. Luo Yu threw a punch. The Black Panther was easily dodged. The leader urged everyone to leave, for their plan had failed. And why did this harpy suddenly appear at such an unimportant time? As soon as they ran out of the cave, they were already being waited for. Luo Yu recognized Luo Ding and Luo Hao. So they were the ones who attracted the flying beast here. The guy replied that they were just trying to hunt the purple harpy, but it was stronger than they thought. So they decided to hide in this cave. Luo Yu wondered why his map didn't show that there was a nest of purple harpies nearby. But a Black Panther was on its way here. That demonic beast had almost attacked them. But Luo Yu decided to block her punch. Suddenly, something from the ground also hit the Black Panther. It was Luo Ding. Luo Yu thanked him for this. They would help him keep the Black Panther. The purple harpy needs to be lured elsewhere. If that harpy and Black Panther had pounced here together, they definitely wouldn't be standing here right now. Luo Yu confirmed his words and said that the guys should run away. Luo Xing said that they would lure the purple harpy, while they had to hold the Black Panther for 10 breaths. Luo Yi also didn't understand why the nest of purple-feathered harpies wasn't listed on the map. It seems the people following them are the cause of the harpies' sudden attack. But what are they even trying to do? Possibility. They are trying to kill Luo Yu and Luo Ding, but a harpy was already flying after them. Lo Xing told everyone to run to the trees and take cover there. They can't let the harpy team up with the Black Panther. The black harpy almost killed Luo Hao, but it just flew past the guy for some reason. Luo Yi realized that the purple harpy was under someone else's control. The person who wants to kill him has spent a lot of money. He wondered who was behind it. Luo Tianchen or Luo Tianxing. Running constantly wouldn't be of much use. If it's Luo Tianxing who is after him, then the guy will definitely use lightning-fast steps. But if it's Luo Tianchen, then he still has a chance. This was a great chance for Tiancheng. Now that there was no one following the guy, he should be willing to die. He gave the order to the purple harpy. She immediately flew after the guy, who suddenly stopped. Luo Yi was determined to fight. He even praised 12 Uncle. It seems like the guy already knows what Tianchen is doing and for what purpose. It's obvious. Uncle spent so much effort to separate him from Brother Yu. He thinks that the price of controlling the purple harpy is huge. Even Luo Tianchen recognized that he could become great in the future with such knowledge and talent. That was why he should not stay alive. Luo Yi thinks he has to make the first move. He threw a punch at the purple harpy, but it managed to fly away from it. This guy was really fast and strength no less. He's definitely not in the middle stages of stage 5. Luo Yi managed to freeze the demonic beast. Luo Tianchen decided to attack to break the ice. If a guy was able to kill a rank 7 expert and a demonic beast at the peak of that rank, then he's a dream at least at rank 8. How could this even happen? Luo Yi didn't give him any time to think and immediately attacked him. Tianchen also threw a punch at him. The two forces collided and it threw them both back. Luo Tiancheng shouldn't be given a chance to give this guy a break. He needs to put all his strength into it. But Luo Yi is determined. How humiliating for Tiancheng to use so much strength against a 16-year-old brat. But this guy is still a long way from winning. Tianchen landed a crushing blow on the guy. Of course, this took a toll on the main character. This attack also caused some repercussions for the attacker as well. But this child must not be left alive. Tianchen once again decided to attack Luo Yi. Luo Yi was somehow able to block this strike even though he was covered in wounds. Luo Tianchen was very surprised by this. The man struck again with a devastating blow. But even after him, Luo Yi was fine again. It became clear that he was using lightning steps. The uncle replied that it was pretty good. But that was the last thing he said. Next time, it's best not to get up to face the examiner. Luo Yi needs to get out of here before the blood attracts the attention of other demonic beasts. The boy walked up to his defeated uncle. Since his sword was no longer capable, he decided to borrow Tiancheng's sword for a while. He also took away his uncle's 5th star shadow sword technique, a spirit taming technique, with a taming pill that gives you the ability to tame a demonic beast. And this he'll leave to the demonic beast so there's no trace of him being here. You can't go back to the family for now, otherwise Luo Tianxing will immediately realize who was involved. And in this state, he can't even fight back when attacked. Luo Tianxin was reported by a subordinate that there was no information on Tianchen. Young Master Luo Ding and his group returned after 6 days, but they had no information on Luo Chen. And the third group returned 2 days ago at noon, but Luo Yi wasn't with them. Once they gathered information about Tiancheng, they should immediately inform Luo Tianxing. Tianxing had told Tiancheng to immediately return after completing the mission, but he was still gone. Something must have happened, but that's impossible since Luo Yi is weaker than Tianchen. 6 months later, Luo Yi continued his cultivation. He was finally able to reach the 9th stage of the Tide Technique. With the 9th stage of the Tide Technique, he would be able to use the lightning step 6 times in a row. It's time to try out new abilities in Qi control. And at night, Luo Yi will take the Tiger Dragon pill to advance to the next level. He decided to correct his mistake that happened 6 months ago. Luo Yi threw a stone at the Black Panther. The Black Panther dodged this attack, but Luo Yi gave her another blow. He was able to single-handedly completely freeze a Black Panther. The 5 elements of the Air Shadow Blade technique were far from an ice sword, but his power is definitely not to be underestimated. Suddenly, he heard people screaming. There were Luo family people and some other strangers standing there. As it turned out, the Luo family was surrounded by the people of the Song family. This ordeal was not spared from the eternal family feuds. The Luo family's people gave them the praying mantis. The Song family wanted its head, of course, but they wanted something else more than anything else. Namely, the heads of the Luo family members. How dare those bastards from the Song family even dare to want the heads of the Luo family? Even with powers, you have to worry about your life. Originally, the Luo family had nothing to do with Luo Yi. However, the leader of the 11th team gave the medicine to Bin Yun's sister, so he needs to return the favor. All he has to do is not reveal his identity. The Luo family's men were surrounded, and were clearly losing this battle. But a stranger in a cloak came to their defense. He quickly dealt with the Song family. Human corpses began to fall from the sky. Others didn't realize what had just happened. The stranger also decided to deal with the other half. This attack was directed at the man with green hair. The stranger froze him. He was already thinking of leaving, but the guy stopped him. The older one definitely doesn't want to show his identity, so the younger one won't ask for it. But the younger one thanks the older one for saving their lives. This man is at least at stage 8. But it wasn't clear to them why he had saved them. Someone assumed it was an elder, but a clan elder wouldn't go into hiding. The extraordinary Tiger Dragon pill, which was a first-grade pill, increases one's cultivation level after absorbing it. At first, he planned to wait until the peak of the 9th stage. But after 2 months, he will return to the Luo family and meet Luo Tianba, who is at the peak of the 10th level. His time is running out. Luo Yi took a pill. The guy doesn't know the side effects of the pill, but still hopes it doesn't disappoint him. He began to absorb the power of the pill. Ice began to form around it, but he had to stop it. His meridians felt an intense pain. It was probably the middle of the 9th stage. The time to absorb the Tiger Dragon pill and level up is 6 months, but he somehow just went from the early stage to the middle stage when he took it. He would have to wait to move on to the next step and repair the damaged meridians due to the pill. In a couple days, there was only a month left before returning to Luo's family. It was time to take revenge on the first group for helping Luo Tiancheng with his murder. Luo Ding went outside, and the other guy asked if there was any news about 12 Uncle. Luo Ding only waved his head. His father disappeared almost 6 months ago. Luo Tianxing assumes he's already passed away. There has been no news of him for 6 months, but his body has yet to be found. Luo Ding hopes that he might still be alive. 12 Uncle is strong, so you don't have to worry so much. The last mission was to kill the drill rat in stage 8. They'll have time to catch up. Luo Yi waited for days, and they did leave the camp to enter the depths of the island. Luo Tianxing's second son, Luo Yang, whom the guy hadn't seen in the first group after that day. Maybe he had transferred his son when they surrounded Luo Yi. But he couldn't know that the guy could kill Luo Tiancheng after all. It was rather strange. Luo Ding warned the others that a bloodthirsty weasel's nest was further away. One must avoid it. Luo Hao asked how much further to the drill rat's place. At this rate, they will reach the site in 10 days. Luo Hao just wants to complete this mission and return home as soon as possible. Luo Ding recognized that Luo Hao was indeed a terrible person. This monster is a rank 8 monster, so he shouldn't be taken so lightly. Luo Hao asked if Brother Ding was mistaking him for an idiot. Luo Yi he heard that Sister Bin Yun was injured by the monster. This wench dared to refuse him, so she deserves to be punished. Luo Ding was clearly infuriated by his words, but before he could say anything, Luo Hao already had Luo Yi behind him to kill him. Luo Ding shouted about a person behind him. Luo Hao slumped down and asked if he even knew who he was. Luo Yi quickly dealt with the remaining people from the team. Others didn't understand what was even going on, or who this person was, but he had the sword of Luo Ding's father, Luo Tiancheng, so they really recognized it. This sword is really good. He clarified that it was true the sword of the 12th uncle. They couldn't believe their eyes that it was really Luo Yi. What was that kid even doing here? He was supposed to be killed by 12th uncle. It was true that Luo Ding had underestimated him. He questioned whether Luo Yi had really killed his father. For the first time, he is looked at with eyes that are full of hate. But he's never been a bad person. These guys just have to pay for trying to kill him. Luo Yi confirmed his words. He had killed his uncle, and now it was their turn. Luo Din wants to avenge his father. Luo Ding attacked him. But for Luo Yi, it was too slow. Luo Yi decides to end this fight quickly. Luo Ding fell to the ground. Even though he realized that his father had lost, he still decided to avenge him. Luo Ding is admirable. But this Luo Hao is definitely not like that. Everyone must be held accountable for the sins they have committed. Now it was the 17th brother's turn. Luo Hao shouted that Luo Yi simply didn't understand what he wanted to accomplish. But Luo Yi wants to show the 17th brother his strength. Today, he will have a chance to see her. Luo Hao looked at the other people who had been killed by the main character with horror. He begged to let him go. Luo Hao promised to give him anything he wanted. Luo Hao is too greedy and pathetic for a son of Tianba. Luo Hao clearly wanted to contradict him, but Luo Yi definitely didn't think of listening to his complaints. Luo Hao started apologizing again. Killing such a pathetic and cowardly man is no fun at all. Since brother won't show his strength, it's time to say goodbye. Luo Yi wanted to deal him one last blow. but his strike was blocked by some other golden energy. This blow would be too strong as one he would have no way of repelling. If he hadn't reached the intermediate part of the 9th stage, he might have died now. This dominant sword energy must have been given to save his son's life. Even though he didn't know how many more lunges Luo Hao could unleash, as long as he was careful, nothing would happen to him. Luo Tianba learns the pain of losing his own child today. Luo Hao shouted that if Brother Yi killed him, his father would never let him go. But of course the protagonist will not stop it in any way. Luo Hao fell down defeatedly. Luo Yi thought that Tianba had only left him with sword energy, but his strength exceeded his expectations. It came from trying to hurt him. He had to leave all the deaths of the first group to the monsters. Up ahead is a nest of bloodthirsty weasels. How fortunate it all worked out. A couple days later, Luo Tianxing asked what had happened in the first place. A few days ago, the team found weapons and the remains of all the members of the first team, as well as remains from a bloodthirsty weasel. Luo Xing clearly didn't believe that the entire first team had been killed by a bloodthirsty weasel and then died from their wounds themselves. Luo Ding was clearly not stupid enough to wander into the lair of such a powerful monster. He probably killed the first group, then left the rest of the work to the monsters. Then tossed a couple of corpses into the burrow of a bloodthirsty weasel and made it look like they were fighting it. This person managed to kill the entire group and get rid of the monsters in the lair. That means that his strength is quite enormous. But people didn't understand why such a strong man would cover his tracks. This matter should be resolved as soon as possible. Luo Tianxing told them to go first and not to seek information for the first group. Tian Cheng's disappearance, the killing of the first group of Luo Ding and Luo Hao, and it all started with a plan to siege Luo Yi. Maybe the guy survived after all and now he's out for revenge. But that's just not possible. Luo Yi is dead, and the third group found his sword. And with Luo Yi's level, it was impossible to avoid being killed by Tian Chen. But Luo Yi could hide his real level, so someone powerful could be behind him. And if he is alive, we need to eliminate him before returning to the Luo family. Luo Yi stood on a rock in the middle of the water, keeping a steady rhythm. He was finally able to make it happen. The guy spends a lot of time practicing with the sword, and his body has started to adapt to it. The tidal technique is part of nature because it uses water. Water has 3 states: solid, liquid, and gaseous. Everyone in the world thought that the ice form was the strongest attack of the tide technique, but this judgment is wrong. They are like the waves of the sea. When it rises, it will take the form of the strongest wave. The power of the water, wave after wave, is only one, at its power quite another. In this world, nothing will be able to resist the attacks of the giant waves, which are getting stronger every time. He only needs a little time, and he, who is at the 9th stage, will challenge Luo Tianba, who is at the peak of the 10th stage. 2 months later, end of the year, there were many students gathered there. Luo Tianxing said that of all the families on the island, Luo's family ranked only 3rd. They were able to obtain the Autumn Water Sword, the Tiger Soul Sword, a rank 1 medicinal spiritual pill, and a rank 1 QI gathering pill. The Heavenly Long Sword and Earth Long Sword are rank 4 weapons that are very hard to find. Among the elders of the family, most of them wield such weapons. The Spirit Pill is standard, but the QE Gathering Pill is very useful. If Luo Xing can get this pill, he will go from stage 6 to stage 7 and go to another island next year. Luo Yu replied that if the team could get it, they would give this pill to him. Luo Xing thanked the boys. Suddenly saw a guy approaching whose appearance was not good, so this Luo Yi was able to survive. Luo Tianxing said that they would wait to give out the awards. He headed toward the guy. He didn't understand how he managed to survive and come back here. There was no way Luo Tianchen, Luo Ding, and Luo Hao would die at his hands. But if he really killed Tiancheng, then his strength is impressive. But Luo Yi suddenly fell down. His breathing is almost non-existent, and his wounds are real. Even if Tianchen died at his hands, who could the guy even get such wounds from? Maybe it's an attempt to fool Luo Xin. Maybe he killed them and wounded them to avert suspicion. But that's impossible, because he's just a boy. He can't be trying to fool him. Luo Xin is definitely thinking too much. This guy was lucky to escape the clutches of death, but he would be really lucky if he could survive after returning to Luo Manor. The students who were watching definitely played their part well, otherwise something could have happened. Everything is going exactly according to the guy's plan. The others were shocked to see the guy in such a state. Tears appeared in the girl's eyes. Luo Binyun immediately hugged him and didn't know what had happened to him. Luo Yu told the third uncle that Luo Yi was a member of his group, so he would take him away for treatment. Luo Xing agreed to this. A little while later, the guy was put on the bed. They asked Master Pei if he would be all right. Pei replied that he lost consciousness due to blood loss. His body is in good condition, so he will recover quickly. He needs to rest for a couple of days. At the beginning of the island, the sister was injured. Now Yi's brother was injured. Luo Yu admitted that it looked suspicious. Luo Yi disappeared for 6 months, and when he came back, he was all wounded and bloody. After a year of training on the island, the Lo family members go back. Lo Yi wakes up, so he is asked where he has been for the past 7 months, and where he got such serious wounds. Because of a purple harpy on the run, he got lost in the forest. He had to fight many monsters, and now, after 6 months, he was able to return. They had searched for him for dozens of places, but they still couldn't find him. Luo Xing didn't understand it either. This guy answers questions so calmly that it seems suspicious. If Aunt Chun hadn't stayed at the Luo family's estate, he would have stayed on the island to reach the 10th stage. But as long as the guy's okay, then it's fine. As long as the guy's alive, the rest of it doesn't matter so much. Besides, Junior E shouldn't have a reason to lie to his team. But no one from the first group returned, and the third uncle didn't react to it. Things get weirder, as if he knew that the first group would meet a terrible end. In the ship, the guy kept practicing farther and farther. Ordinary swords are no match for Earth-ranked and Heaven-ranked items, but he threw it into the sea with the corpse on his way back. After so many months of practicing with the sword, he finally achieved rhythmic superposition. With this technique and fast movement, Luo Tianba wouldn't be able to resist him. A month later, they finally arrived at the Dongsha Ferry, which was the largest ferry in Tiandu Prefecture. The third master should arrive today. After a month in an empty ship, they are finally home. The third master sent a letter to Luo-san saying that Luo Yi was still alive. Luo-san can't wait to wipe that lousy smile off his face. He greeted the third foreman. The latter answered him to keep them working. Luo Tenxing noticed that Luo-san is getting more and more arrogant. He's forgetting his place. How dare the servant disrespect Luo Tianxing? Luo-san is Luo Tianba's dog who almost got him killed. The guy is back, which means Luo Tianba can come at any time. He'd better go see his aunt for now. Luo Yi put tomorrow to have some fun in Tiangdu City. After practicing so much on the island, one should have some fun. Then they will gather tomorrow and take whatever they want. Luo Yu said goodbye and said that they would see each other tomorrow. Luo Binyun told the guy to have his servants prepare more dishes for dinner. She will join in the evening. Guy will convey her wishes. He wondered what Aunt Chun, whom he hadn't seen in so long, was doing now. But what Luo Yi saw in front of him was not what he had even expected. It was Luo Liang, who was clearly not in the best shape. Luo Yi asked where the aunt was, but Luo Liang didn't have time to fully say everything. Luo Yi destroyed the door. He saw his aunt. Bi Chun didn't expect the young master to burst in like this. The guy said he was back. Bai Chun is glad to have him back safe and sound. Luo Yi asked what had happened. Bi Chun replied that she was fine, and he didn't need to do anything stupid. But the guy realized she wasn't feeling well. Luo Yi touched her neck. She fell asleep with the words that she didn't have to do anything, but she'd better get some rest now. Luo Yi went back to Luo Liang and asked who did it. The manager replied that it was Luo-san. Luo Yi asked with an intimidating look when this happened. It was a month ago when Luo-san came here to kill Auntie. Just seeing Madam, he started attacking her without a word. A month ago, Luo Tianxing had sent a letter to Luo Tianba saying that the guy was still not dead. So they decided to destroy the most important thing for the guy. Luo Liang kneeled down and said that he was unable to protect the lady and therefore deserved to be punished. But the truth is, he couldn't have thwarted their plans. Bai Chun has a broken leg and her health leaves much to be desired. If he had watched her a little better, this wouldn't have happened. Luo Yi had always wondered why he should hate Luo-san and Luo Tianbu. But now his patience had run out, and there was a new reason. He told the manager to take care of his aunt. Since they made him, he would gladly play with them. But they would be playing something more than a normal game. Surely this lowlife must be at home by now. The man wondered if he was coming here. He's overly worried for some reason, but how can he be afraid of someone like this guy? It was the man who gave him the seal of the Soul Dao. Whether he comes or not, it doesn't matter. Either way, there won't even be a bone left of him. All those who disrespect him will die. And then, of course, Luo Yi came. Luo-san has been waiting for this garbage. Luo Yi decided to attack him. They clashed in a fight. Luo-san was clearly losing to the guy. He didn't understand how that was even possible. This garbage actually beat him with one hold. This little beast is too much of a bully for humans. He threw something at him. This was the same golden sword energy that had protected Luo Hao that day. It was Luo Tanba's trump card that he had left for Luo-san. This energy of the golden sword is impossible to resist. This move is not intended to defeat the enemy, but only to lend strength. Luo Yi was able to dodge at it somehow. Luo San won't let him escape. He attacked Luo Yi again. Since Luo Tianba intended to kill the guy, he wouldn't just give him sword energy. Luo Yi was prepared for this. Luo San didn't understand how he was able to escape twice. No matter how strong this kid was, he would still have one way out after facing this attack. But even so, it didn't work out for him. He fell down and screamed something about his leg. How could this little lowlife do anything to him at all? But Luo Yi raised his sword to give him a final blow. Luo San was able to block it. It was his attack that was too powerful. After that, Luo Tianba came in and recognized that his nephew was good and had great tricks. Luo Yi was also impressed with his uncle. Luo San asked Master to help him kill this little asshole. That's why Luo San is so arrogant. Luo Tianba not only gave him 3 talismans to protect him, but also came to rescue him personally. Tianba told him to rest. Luo Tianba noticed that the guy didn't look surprised. Did he really know about all this? But there was nothing to be surprised about. Among the other families, the Luo family is the strongest and is ruled by strength. Luo Tianba admits that he underestimated this kid. The strong man behind him exists, and it seems the boy has inherited his strength. But he could check if Luo Yi had such a person. He even wondered why his uncle was being so cautious with him. The boy is thinking well, but he killed his son and hurt Luo San. That's why he must die today. The uncle is stronger than the guy. Luo Yi can't kill him, but neither can uncle. The guy really can't kill his uncle. Luo Yi attacked him. It was good for Tianba that the guy attacked him first. But Luo Tianba also struck back at him. The guy is still too weak to compete with him. Luo Yi used the 5 elements of the air shadow technique. With this technique, he was able to repel his punch and even attack Tianba. The man didn't understand why the 5-element air shadow technique was so strong. He also used a strong punch. The 2 powerful forces clashed again. Luo Yi attacked him again and again. Tianba didn't understand why the attacks were getting stronger and stronger each time. But the uncle's attacks hurt the guy too. He can no longer maintain superposition with his current level. He needs to get even stronger. This was the end. Because of the discord with Luo Tianba, he could no longer stay in the Luo family's manor. Tianba admitted that the guy had exceeded his expectations. But if that was all, he had already lost. But like the guy said, his uncle can't kill him. But it's foolish of him to rely on this strange technique. He's going to die today and it's inevitable. He threw back his sword. If Tianba dares to get close to Auntie, then the entire Luo family will be in for a collapse. Tianba started shouting loudly. The guy was bombarded with a lot of attacks again. Luo Tianba had told him this before. He can't run away today. With his technique, he was able to avoid that punch. Instant Step is really fast, but it leaves behind huge footprints. If he was in normal condition, he would be able to escape. But now he is weakened. Tianba shouted not to waste his time after all. He wouldn't run away anyway. He can only use the Instant Step twice. You should try it. Luo Yi flew away, but it was a pointless battle for the uncle. He rushed after him with words to the effect that it was time for him to die. He got into some kind of canyon. Luo Tianba was right behind him. Even God is not on his side. He attacked him again. Luo Yi started to fall down, but he still wanted to answer him with a punch of his own. The 2 powerful attacks collided once again. Behind him is a cliff at least a kilometer long. In his current condition, his chances of survival are nil. But that wasn't the end of it. Being on the edge, he still dared to jump straight down. The QE of Tianba's sword hit his internal organs, and his last move had completely used up all of his ki. But he doesn't think of giving up that easily. He used the rhythm of the Blue Rain Sword. This attack would clearly be the most powerful attack he'd ever made. That innate intention was just like it was back then. Back then, Luo Tinfeng had cognized innate intent faster than him. And now his offspring, who was trash, would actually be able to cognize innate intent. The guy started falling down. Tianba shouted that although both of them would know him earlier, they would still die. Uncle really thinks he will die by falling here. That would be true. But Luo Yi has been here before. Otherwise, he wouldn't have dared to take such a risk. He managed to grab onto those vines in time to keep himself alive and from crashing. Luo Yi can't even move properly. In better shape, it wouldn't be a hindrance. But suddenly some red eyes glowed in the darkness, looking straight at the guys. It was like a huge snake. Luo Yi didn't know what to do anymore. After all, he didn't want to end up in the stomach of this demonic beast. He remembered the Pseudo-King elixir he had. It could subdue the monster's mind. This beast was clearly interested in this elixir. Surprisingly, it actually worked. He was indeed able to bend the demonic beast to his will. This technique consumes a lot of spiritual power. But he must continue, for his survival depends on it. He told the beast to take the boy to his lair. He grabbed Luo Yi with his tail. After a while, he sat the guy down in some kind of cave. He also told the beast to bring some food here. The demonic beast is gone, and he needs to recover as quickly as possible. He can't stand still anymore. He would start with the first stage of the tide technique. From then on, his Kui should have strengthened a lot. After a while, the beast returned. The power of this elixir is too immense. She uses it to control the monster and recover. When the elixir's effects wear off, the monster will be extremely hostile to the controller. The effects last for 3 hours. In its current state, it will be a mere snack for the serpent. It's worth relying on luck and hoping I'm very high up there. He ordered the beast out of here. The snake obeyed him and crawled away. When there were vines, thanks to this, there was only a 10% chance of death. But if the beast came down to him, it was definitely the end. But also there flew a huge bird that was able to catch the kite. Luo Yi marveled at what this bird was able to do. This place is not far from Luo's family. If he goes down, there will be stronger monsters. But it's quite normal. It is dangerous to be outside, because a monster that is more powerful than him may come. It is better to find a quiet place and start a full recovery with training. But suddenly he saw some kind of light. The boy was alert. It was some kind of small lake. There's some beautiful flower growing in the middle of the lake there. This place is hidden in peas, and it's nighttime and it shines like moonlight. We need to research this.
The best part was that there was a frozen monster nearby.
So it's a snake frozen from touching it. That's a lot of temperature in there. With the intermediate stage of water style, the guy can't resist in there. One touch and he'll turn into the local ice statue. Why would a place like this even have plants? It's very suspicious. Luo Yi decided to check things out after a full recovery. Meanwhile, the Patriarch was summoned early. Tianba said that he killed the traitor Luo Yi yesterday. Luo Hong asked if this guy was so dangerous, and it was really worth it for him to come back. Luo San is an elder, but that guy attacked for no reason and almost killed him. Tianba tried to stop him, but he just pounced on him to kill him. That kid is really dangerous. People like him should be gotten rid of immediately. These are the laws of the family, and no one dares to break them. Tianba knows that the kid is talented, but he also realizes that the laws of the family must be put first. Despite his pity for Luo Yi, he just can't ignore them. If the Patriarch thinks otherwise, he can punish that nephew or demote him. Tianba wouldn't be against it. How dare he kill the Patriarch's grandson and use the family law as a cover? It is impossible to kill Luo Tianbu, because his father can challenge him at any moment and the family will start to crumble. Since he is the Patriarch, he simply cannot allow his family to be destroyed. For her sake, he must restrain himself. He asked Little E to wait for his grandfather to avenge him. Lo Hong recognized that family laws are absolute, and no one has the right to break them, even if it is his grandchildren. He decided to end here and move on to the annual festival. As expected, the Patriarch is well aware of the situation. 5 days later. Fortunately, the healing effect of the tide technique is not bad. It could have been much worse. The damaged meridians are healing thanks to the technique. There's not much time left. True Ki is not perfect. It needs to be treated using various medicines. Right now, his strength had recovered from the 6th to 7th stage. He didn't know the snake's strength, but its huge body froze in seconds. Even if he is a water-type practitioner, with his current strength, he wouldn't be able to withstand such cold. If the guy uses instantaneous movement, he could get across the lake, but the flower might have the same aura as the lake. And the strangest thing about this place is the light. Where would it even come from? It could be an object of some kind. Right now, opposing Luo Tianba didn't even make sense. One should at least reach the innate realm and only return after that. This is his chance. Maybe he can find something here. If he can't get across the lake, he'll have to climb through the hole. The cave is hundreds of meters from the lake. The light source must be somewhere nearby. He began to leap through the vines, straight to the top. Suddenly, Luo Yi heard a jest from the monkeys. There really were a lot of monkeys there. Those monkeys were weak, but there were too many of them. Guy sure doesn't want to get into them. But he also saw a not insignificant hole that could have been a path to the mountainside. He has to figure out a way to lure the monkeys out of there. It won't be easy, but there was already a demonic bird flying there. Lucky she didn't even look in the guy's direction. It allowed him to break through. He followed to the hole he found. Even though this cave looks big, it's mostly monkey nests. Since this cave doesn't lead to the slope, all he has to do is get out of here. But he noticed a monkey that looked drunk for some reason. It may have been the king of the apes, for he was different from the others. When his followers are chasing birds, he sleeps peacefully here. He even had wine. According to legend, monkey wine is made from a legendary fruit that is brewed from the fruit. It is then moistened and fermented with water from a mountain spring. The guy wondered what it tasted like, but suddenly the king woke up. He immediately attacked Luo Yi, but then I dodged his punch. The Monkey King decided to strike him again. Luo Yi also kept up with him. This monkey was strong. The king only had true ki, but somehow had so much strength. Luo Yi decided to test how strong this monkey's body was. He used Cloud Annihilation. This technique hit the monkey, but Luo Yi had spent too much effort. But the monkey got up immediately, as if nothing had happened. Luo Yi didn't realize what kind of beast this was. Its technique could even kill an 8-ranked cultivator. Did this king really have such a strong body as well as a bone? Apparently this beast doesn't want to make nonsense movements. Nevertheless, its physical strength was truly strange. Maybe it's his natural talent, or maybe it's something else. The beast noticed the guy start to approach. He began to prepare for the attack. Luo Yi realized that he was scared when the guy approached the stone tablet. Maybe she was the reason he had such strength. Luo Yi activated Annihilation. The guy made his way to the sign. Luo Yi threatened to destroy it if the monkey came any closer. The king calmed down. As it turned out, there was just wine in there. Perhaps it was the wine that made the Monkey King stronger. If it really does increase strength, then it will help Luo Yi raise the level. As soon as the guy let his guard down, the king decided to try to do something about it. The monkey kicked at him, causing Luo Yi to spurt blood. What he hates most is being made fun of. It doesn't matter if it's a human or a monster. Since this beast is focused on killing the guy, he won't hold back. The monkey drank the wine at once. His body was transformed. This monster's speed became faster after drinking wine. These effects are definitely amazing. He decided to use the blue rain sword now. With his attack, he froze the Monkey King. Too bad this monkey doesn't realize the true value of this wine. Though he couldn't find his way out of this cave, he did come across some useful monkey wine. The other monkeys should be back soon enough. He's found what he needs, so we have to get out of here fast. The effect of this wine is enormous. He needs to go back to a quiet place and start absorbing it in peace. When he finished absorbing the medicine, he would immediately go to look for the cause of that strange light. He returned to his cave. He smashed that strange stone into shards. After that, I decided to try one. The flavor of this wine was great. The effect was instantaneous, for he feels a surge of strength. His lungs burned, but it was as if there was no pain. Not only did he recover, but he was able to increase his physical strength. Perhaps now he could use instantaneous movement 10 times over. And if he ate all of it now, all the other shards, he could reach the 10th stage. A couple days later, the guy used rhythm superposition again. The effect was enormous. He can't use instantaneous movement immeasurably yet, but he can so at least 14 times using superposition of rhythm. Although he can't fight Luo Tianba now, it's still too early to go back to the family. Tianba's father is the 13th elder and warrior of the innate realm. If he goes back there, it's literally death for him. The innate realm will be the key to returning to the Luo family. But to reach it in the shortest possible time, a miracle is needed. That means it's time to reveal the nature of that light. He's seen this cliff many times in his time here, but now he's climbing it for the first time. As it turned out, the demonic bird lives on Jufeng Peak. While everyone went downstairs to get food, he was able to climb up quietly. But suddenly he heard the sounds of the monkeys again. It's 700 or even 800 meters from here to their nest. And there's also a demon bird's nest here. What are they even doing here? He saw them, and he doesn't know where they're going. They had fruit in their hands, so there's fruit here even in winter. It's kind of amazing to have a naturally natural garden in a place like this. So there really was an orchard here. In Yan's cold pond, there is a mysterious lotus-shaped light source. Inside the monkey cave, there is their wine that can increase strength. And now there's even a huge garden. There are so many strange things here that it's hard to believe no one has ever been here. If this place was created by man, he must have the power to reach heaven and earth. But now he needs to find a passage to the source of the light. Though the place is huge, there are only fruit trees and no path to the cave entrance. Eventually, he had to go upstairs to find it. We need to find him before the demon monsters return. Although this cave was formed naturally, there are traces of human intervention in the passage. Judging by its appearance, this peak has an owner. So the monsters could just keep an eye on the place until the owner came. Since he came here, we need to check out what's next. Suddenly, some weird-looking monster that was gigantic appeared in front of him. But as it turned out, it was a patterned gate. But still, monsters came out of that gate. They attacked the guy, causing him to bleed again. His soul suffered because of the monster that came out of that gate. If not true, he would definitely die from this light falling from the gate. With just a few patterns on the stone gate, he could attack someone's spirit. How horrible is the ruler who created all of this? This place is too strange, so he can't stay here for long. If the owner of this place finds out, the guy will definitely die. First, we need to recover from the injuries we've sustained. Then we need to come up with a plan. Suddenly he felt something, as if the Tiger Dragon pill had exploded. It seems that this spiritual strike was able to awaken the effects of the Tiger Dragon pill. Because of this, he was able to completely break through from stage 9 to intermediate stage 10. The 5 water elements are available at the 10th stage. If it is not reached, the technique will not be able to condense true energy. The guy was definitely excited about his breakthrough. However, Luo Yi is still too weak. If he goes back to his family and tries to face the innate realm, it will just die. After he touched the gate, the owner should have already found out about him. So, he needs to leave. Since he can't go higher, he has to find another way down. He jumped down. He landed downward with tremendous force. Surprisingly, the guy felt better here. He's out, but now where to go next? Aunt Chun and Sister Binyun probably think he's dead. But he can't return to them until he reaches the innate realm. For over a month now, besides drinking the wine of the monkeys, he has been practicing the rhythm of the Blue Rain Sword. But he doesn't know if it is capable of developing into an innate realm. This is the river flowing towards Tiangdu. He decided to go down this river, practicing rhythm and trying to reach the innate realm before returning. 15 days later, he had a new body technique because of the rhythm, so he decided to call it Magical Snow Dance. He came to Tiangdu, and now the guy needs to find somewhere to rest. Dun Combat Academy. The old man asked if the young man wanted to enter the Duma's martial arts academy. He saw that the guy had been standing there for half a day. If he was going to participate, he had to pay 2 taels of silver. Luo Yi wants to enter the academy, but not as a student. He wants to apply. The old man asked which section he wanted to apply for. This academy was recruiting young martial artists. A cultivator is rare in a place like this. If he hadn't reached the 3rd step in the Luo family, he would be useless. The old man remarked that he was so young and already possessed the strength of a 3rd stage cultivator. Since he wants to get a job, he has to go through certain steps. The old man said to follow him so he wouldn't have any problems in the future. The boy thanked him.